Welcome to part 3 of what became a series of readings. The first part was a transmission from the Divine Masculine. The second part was really looking into sort of the cause of delays in manifesting dreams. Okay, dreams are addressed in the first part as well. And in this third part, I'm going to be pulling some cards to talk about some of these more real aspects in reality that make it feel impractical to just trust. Okay? I've left the links to part 1 and part 2 in the description box below. I don't think it's a mistake you landed here. And I do believe that the first 2 have messages for you. To anyone who has been with me from part 1, I want to say that I took a break in between all of these and I sort of gained the sort of understanding of those that may have dropped off along the way. Of course, there'll always be drop-offs. I'm referring to the types that are like, I can't listen to this anymore. And the message that I was getting is that it actually says so much about you. Nothing negative about anyone who's left. Everyone is free to leave any reading. But it's more around where you find yourself. Okay? Because if you can listen to especially part 2 and really consider clicking onto part 3, all of these things are signs of a person with deep resolve. Deep resolve. After saying resolve twice, I had to actually think about whether I know what it means. I looked it up, just for good measure and for anyone else who feels this way. The first one is obviously a verb, which is not what I meant, but it says settle or find a solution to a problem or contentious matter. Okay, so this means this matters to you a lot. But the noun, which is how I used it, says decide firmly on a course of action. Okay, this tells me that you actually have now decided that your dream is valid and that it's real and that you aren't going to be the one to get in the way. And I want to commend you on that. Because I honestly believe that that is the only way you could listen to a reading like this. I'm just being honest. The landing is harsh for somebody who is not ready for it. Okay? But this also speaks a lot to how strongly you have felt this dream and how real it is. And if you look around and maybe you want to come back to this video to see later, I don't know how many people will end up on part 3 of this. I've never done this before. But if anyone else is in the room with us, okay, which I believe there will be, that is a sign that you are not alone. That is the power of community. That is the power of confirmation. Okay? So you, I, everybody, we all deserved this confirmation of understanding that we are not the only ones feeling this way and that we are not the only ones who have this much resolve over a dream. It is real. I just had a little giggle to myself and again, this dream could mean something different for everyone. Personally, I have more than one, okay? But what I heard was get rich or die trying. And it made me laugh because obviously now that takes us directly to the idea of money, but that was not actually the point and the essence of those words. But it was more around the willingness with which the willingness to stick it through the fight, even if that fight is against yourself. So this is telling me that you are not willing to allow yourself to become the reason why this doesn't happen. You would actually rather it be something else. You'd actually rather something else try stop you, but not yourself, which says so much about your agency. And I feel like what actually happened is that what we've been doing is restoring faith, not planting it, because it's always been there. Your dream would not have actually managed to live this long. We have been restoring it, refreshing it from the bruises that it's sustained along the way. And we're doing that together. the spread that I'm going to pull is coming to me now. I'm going to put a card in the middle for where you are at. Okay. The card above it is going to be your concern. The card on the left is going to be what's not in your power. And the card on your right is going to be what is in your power. And the card underneath, something around disruption is coming up. We're going to call it disruption for now and figure out what that means later. I'm laughing to myself here because what I did is I pulled all the cards and laid them upside down so that I could reveal them all at once. I'm laughing for two reasons. The first one is that I've never pulled the spread before. And the second one is because the concern card is concern. This is actually giving me the message that you are concerned about concern. You are so used to worrying that that's what you do. That's what you do when you have a problem. You worry. It's a cycle. It's a habit. It's a behavior. I'm going to share a personal story without going into too much detail. It's more like a testimony, even a reminder to myself, really. But when I've really been in serious trouble, serious trouble, I accept that I am only making it worse by worrying about it. Over time, what I've learned is that it's actually that the stakes become they go higher, they become higher, whereas my sense of regulation and my response has strengthened. The result is that the bigness of it, it's still big, but it doesn't feel big anymore. And as time goes, I gather more evidence around the fact that time is such an illusion, in the sense that it does not determine the outcome. It does not determine time does not determine how much time you need for something to turn out a certain way. What I mean by that is we can tend to worry over something so much, okay? And then suddenly out of nowhere, a solution comes through. When we look back, we were actually worried about our dictated, way of things working out. And so the fact that I'm still alive and still standing and still healthy and still feeling blessed, okay, in many ways, the fact that that's still the case, even if that particular outcome that I want has not yet transpired, but I am okay, I can start to look back at how these things, different things have happened to leave me feeling okay. And you start to realize what an illusion a lot of these things are that create pressure and that create fear. Okay? Because solutions do appear. However, they're able to appear faster if you accept that there are some things that are out of your control. Okay? In the main, your main male, your card, where you are the main male. As soon as I revealed this card, I just saw you there as the center of the story. Okay? You are the determinant of the outcome. You are the center of the story. You are the person of interest. You are the main character here. Okay, so nobody is going to be forgotten or whatever. Your story is very much the biggest, most important part of your life and what is happening. You're the star of the show. All focus of your spirit guides and whatever you believe in and whatever's out there helping you is all focused on you. The level to which they can focus on you is not, you can't really view it from a scarcity perspective where, they're still dealing with that person or that person is prioritized. No, you are the main character here in your story and in your universe. Okay. And I see you seeing that. I see you seeing that, and that's why you have such a sense of agency over your story, your life. Okay, and so, yes, we have hiccups. Yes, we have delays. Yes, delays result in, some of these things we start to think that don't actually align with what we really, really, truly believe. That's why we've been here, stripping away at all the noise of the things that have sort of accumulated in this space, because of delay. And so I see you right there, number one, which takes me to the magician as well. I see you there. In the things that you cannot control, the things you have no power over. Wealthy man feels like all of these things that have more or appear to have more decision-making power over your life and outcomes than you. Okay, with, let's say, money being the ultimate determinant of how things turn out, which way they go. These are the things that we can tend to fear. Wealthy man could also be you, and it could also be like your sense of when this wealth will reach you. This has become, this feels work-related now. This feels very work-related, this spread of the reading. It's just what it is. I'm not seeing anything here about love. Throughout part 1 and part 2, I felt very much the sense that we're talking about love and money. But here we're talking about the aspects that affect you in your waking life, that put you under pressure and don't allow you to settle into yourself, to trust. The things you can control, okay, on the right is house. And I have that with number 18, the child, as the card of disruption. This is interesting. What I'm being told here with these two cards, what you can control and this idea of disruption, okay, because the area that you can control is essentially where you're going to cause disruption, and that is by pleasing your inner child. That is by leaning into the things that please you, your pleasure. This has been a theme. Pleasure has been a theme since I came back from holiday, basically. Pleasure has been a theme, accepting that your pleasure is valid. Another way that you can cause your own delays is by not leaning into your pleasure and just surrendering and accepting that the things that you don't really like doing are highly unlikely to make your dreams come true. If we just put it directly like that, that's the way I'm going to put it. Your best chance at your dreams coming true are through you doing what you love. And because that's what you'll do really well. And that's also on another layer, if this was born in a dream, okay, now dream logic speaking, reality logic speaking, if this was born in a dream, there are so many other aspects that contribute towards the success of this dream and it coming true. And so the thing is that dream already built into it has got whatever needs to come right around it for it to bring that revelation, that feeling, that reality into your life. And so it only makes sense to strip away at all the things that do not work to reach the places that please you and to start practicing your life in a way that pleases you in the areas that you can control. And that is your house. Your house, okay. Your house is where it's branching into two spaces. Your house is where you are the boss. Okay. Your house is the structure in which you build your life. Okay. Anything that happens in your life actually does need to have room for your pleasure, for your peace. And you can decide those things. If you look at your own life as a house, it's reminding me of a quote from that movie, Life as a House. And the quote in particular is, it's about, let me get the quote. There are a number of them, but the one that I wanted to talk about was the one about change. It says, The great thing though is that change can be so constant, you don't even feel the difference until there is one. It can be so slow that you don't even notice that your life is better or worse until it is. Or it can just blow you away, make you something different in an instant. I actually couldn't remember the quote. My memory is like that. I couldn't remember the quote. I just knew which one it was. And I believe that this is, in essence, what we've been talking about here, is that you are building your life. You are building your life from the inside out. You are building it from the inside out. Build it. Make sure that every brick is a brick of pleasure. And when you are showing up with the sense of duty to make sure you don't fail yourself, remember you're doing it in order for you to end up with this house. Okay, the whole movie, he's actually just building a house. He's dying of cancer. Nobody knows in his family that he's dying, but he's building this house because he always said he would. This is actually the message of all these three parts, okay? The other side of this that I was getting on the house card is a lot of this financial fear around structure of house. I don't know what financial issues there are around housing. That I'm getting strongly. It was very clear. They are saying that this reality is very much included in everything that has been discussed here. And it's like this house is almost a symbolic, karmic, teacher on what a house really means to you, what a life really means to you, and taking us back to this idea of regulation and sort of achieving this sense of regulation against all odds in your system. You don't understand what is forming out of you for you to be under such pressure. I'm feeling the pressure, even my hands are moving according to this pressure that this house is putting you under. This wealthy man card, that's the stuff that you cannot control. That is the stuff you cannot control. This main male card is that you are still the center of your story and you are still the determinant of your outcome. Okay, irrespective of the fact that there are other people who have contracts or whatever it is that get to decide how things are run and how they happen. Remember what I said about how solutions come to be. The way that you think, okay, so it's almost like I have this wealthy man's sort of way of thinking. You can call it this paradigm, the way it operates, and this is very much the way the current world works. Okay? I almost have their voice and their way of working in your mind. They almost have you convinced that without their solution and their way of things working out, that you will be left in the lurch. You see, that's where they have it wrong and that's where you have it wrong, because I've already talked about other solutions that can come to pass. And so no matter the outcome here, there is actually what we can call a possibility that a solution will arise. We can call it that. But again, this is out of your control. This is not your department. This is you've been given a job. Your job is child. Your job is to, man your body, man your house, do what you love. Do not allow yourself to keep doing what you don't love. Do not allow yourself to, self-restraint, all the things we've talked about. It's like you've been given a job and you've come into a company and that's your job, yet you are trying to run the company itself. Or you are trying to run the accounts department or trying to, run HR. When you're meant to actually be in the creative department and the department that decides, the stuff that's been put in your file. If the stuff is not in your file and you can't do anything about it, please get out of this cycle of concern. There's this thing we call a type 2 problem. When a problem comes in and if it's not your department, you say it's type 2. Type 1 is your type, main male. Type 1 is your type. If it's not your type, it's type 2. Let the other department deal with it because it's literally out of your hands. And what you end up doing is creating more problems for yourself because you are now neglecting your department, you're neglecting your house. I'm going to leave this here. Should we pull an oracle card reading? Yes. Before I move on to the card, I want to tell you about a message that I received before I started recording anything today. And I saw a cassette tape and it reminded me of a past personal reading that I did, and I started a series called The Wisdom Diaries. I'm going to show you a preview of this on the screen so that you can recognize what it looks like. It's in my Patreon shop. The client graciously allowed me to share this because some readings really feel like they belong to the collective. I am not completely sure about the relevance of that reading here, but it's a message that I got, and so you'll be able to discern from the preview that's available on Patreon. Okay, so you can listen to the preview for free, and from the writing that's on the screen. Okay, she shares her concern in emails, and I read those out, and you'll be able to tell if that resonates, if there's a message in there for you. The card I've pulled is Cosmic Heart. I've also got number 8 on it, which is giving me a message around a positive momentum that is now entering your life. Okay? And building from the inside. I was dead. I became alive. I was tears. I became laughter. The power of love arrived and made me everlasting power. I have seen everything. I have no fear. I have the heart of a lion. I shine like Venus. Rumi. I hear it and weep. In sublime reverence, I bow to this living, beating, loving heart of the universe. It echoes throughout all of creation. Once, some time ago, I was deaf. I had not heard one true sound. Much noise, but no truth. So I believed in many things not worth believing in. Then in a moment of my crisis that cracked my heart open, I was given a gift. Though I felt fear and confusion, a gift came to me, more powerful than those temporary ailments. That gift was the ability to hear the sound hidden beneath all of life. I heard it, that sacred sound of the beating heart of universal love. Now I know that belief in unworthy things, like fear and doubt, is lunacy. Even my loneliness became unconvincing to me. We are animated by this living heartbeat, part of life that is sustained by it. You and I, the planets, the birds and the fishes, emerge from the great source because of this beating heart of the universe. It pumps life through our veins. What proof of this is needed? You live. That is the proof. I hear it everywhere now. It has become so loud. Louder than any word of fear. It resonates through my soul and eclipses any tremor of anxiety. I'm going to leave this here. Thank you so much for being with me throughout all 3 of these readings. Thank you so much to all supporters of the channel. To anyone who wishes to support the channel and can, I've left details in the description box below on how. Sending you all so much love.